Hello humans! First things first, you pressed play! Thank you! I hope wherever in the world you are, this video finds you and your loved ones safe and well. Let's make some jam. Okay, so this is a dried apricot jam recipe from the BBC. It's not my own, but I have tweaked it a little bit because it asks for 1.5 kilos of jam sugar. Times being what they are, I don't have 1.5 kilos of jam sugar, so I'm just using whatever sugar I can get my hands on. It's a mixture of, can you see? It's a mixture of caster sugar and normal granulated sugar. If you don't even have 1.5 kilos of sugar, just adapt the recipe accordingly. It's on the blog. Alright, so 500 grams of dried apricots, chopped and soaked overnight in 1.5 litres of water. Lovely. Otherwise, you will need a small plate, a wooden spoon, a tablespoon, lemon juice or 2 large lemons. I have a jam thermometer. Don't stress about that. If you don't have one, it will be fine. Just to go back to what I said about jam sugar, if you're new to making jam sugar has something called pectin in it. Pectin helps the jam to set. Now, I've never actually used specialised jam sugar for my jams, and I've never had a problem. Worst case scenario, you might end up with 4 jars of dried apricot syrup. There are worse things than that. You can put it on your porridge, you can have it with ice cream, you could put it in an old-fashioned bread and butter pudding. If what we make today turns out as syrup instead of jam, it's all good. Okay, step 1, take your small plate and put it in the freezer. Trust me, crucial. Now that's done, you're gonna light the hob. Cameraman. Here's your apricots with the water. You're gonna add the lemon juice and bring it to the boil. Just gonna check the recipe. Yep. Okay, so the recipe says juice 2 large lemons. I don't have 2 large lemons, so I'm going for 4 tablespoons of lemon juice instead. Checking recipe again. Okay, so my apricots are bubbling nicely. So I'm going to turn down the heat. Now I've got it on the biggest hob here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn on the smallest one, put it right down low, move the pan over, turn off the other hob, give it a stir. Pop the lid on and let your apricots simmer nicely for 30 minutes until they're broken down and gooey and mushy and ready to be turned into jam. Alright, so my challenge to you for the next 30 minutes is not to look at a screen. Do whatever. Talk to your succulents, read a book, practice yoga, water your pots. I'm gonna water my pots. See you in half an hour. Alrighty, so your apricots have been simmering nicely for half an hour. They should be kind of fat. And your kitchen is probably smelling divine. Okay. The next thing you need to do is sterilize your jars. So the recipe calls for, I think it makes 4 300ml jars. So right here, I've got 5 jars just to be on the safe side, plus 1 teeny weeny baby one for any last dregs or whatever. That'll just be popped in the fridge and we'll probably have it on our breakfast toast tomorrow. I've got jars of all shapes and sizes because I just keep all of my jars. I'm not too fussy, but I just always make sure that I sterilize an extra 1 or 2 just in case. Sometimes they go back in the cupboard. Cool. Okay. Yes. In order to get the labels off, I soaked my jars overnight, so I just kind of chucked them in to some hot soapy water overnight when I put the apricots on. And then you peel the labels off, give them another quick rinse. And now for the sterilizing. So, heat your oven to 150 degrees. And pop them in. They're going to need about 20 minutes, but this is about as long as the next part's going to take anyway. Okay, take your apricots off the heat and get your sugar. Hold on to your helmets, kids, this is where the magic happens. Okay, sugar goes in. It's an obscene amount of sugar, I know. Just don't think about it. This is going to be so yummy. What does it Prudly says? You have to make it worth the calories? Okay, there is Sugar Mountain amongst the apricots. So it's off the heat and you need to stir it gently with your wooden spoon. Ooh, I can hear it bubbling while the sugar goes in, while the oxygen holes, the bubbles come out of the sugar. Okay, stir it nice and gently until all of the sugar has been dissolved, until you can't kind of feel any grittiness anymore as you stir it. And then maybe stir it a little bit more, just to be on the safe side. There was a lot of sugar in there, so don't rush this bit. Be nice and mindful. It's been kind of difficult to be mindful lately. I would sing for you, but I can't. You don't want that. You can sing for yourself. There's a particular Bob Marley song I have in mind. I'm not going to do it. Oh, still some gritty bits. Alright, now this pan is not a jam pan. Again, you don't have to have a jam pan. Just use the biggest pan that you have. Because once all your sugar is dissolved, the next step is to put it back on the biggest hob, nice and hot, and boil it rapidly for 20 minutes. That's the fun bit. You really need to watch it then because it will try to jump out the pan. Might put my penny on. Right. Oh no. Still some more sugar granules. Wow, it's looking syrupy already. Alright, okay, lovely. I'm going to take a little jug and put your spoon in it. You are going to need the spoon in a bit, but not for the next part. And you're also going to need the jug for when you jar up the jam. Okay, over we go. Cool. On goes the heat. It'll come to the boil. Boil rapidly for 20 minutes by the instructions. Try not to let it jump out of the pan. It's going to get big. If it's right at the top, don't worry. You're just going to have to clean your kitchen afterwards. That's what I do. Okay. At this point, I'm going to put my jam thermometer in. If you have one, go ahead. If you don't, please don't stress. That's why we've got a plate in the freezer. So you want the end of the thermometer to sit in the jam, in the top of the mixture. Oops. Okay. Now, once it reaches I know you can't see. Sorry, home video. Once it reaches 105 degrees. That's when it's hit the setting point, but it really needs to be bubbling for that. Again, don't worry, as long as it's been bubbling very enthusiastically for 20 minutes, I am confident it will set. If it doesn't, send it back to me, or just enjoy your syrup. When life gives you syrup, eat it with ice cream. Okay. Now we wait for it to start boiling. So when it comes to jarring it up after the 20 minutes of boiling, whoops, I have some of these snazzy little, just like baking parchment rounds that you can pop on top. My jam is bubbling away happily. I've got a timer on for 20 minutes. My jars are in the oven, ready to be sterilized. It's all about to come together really quite beautifully. When it comes to jarring up your jam, it helps just to have a little cloth or tea towel or something just to cover your hand with when you're pouring it in, just in case of any spills. You don't want to get any burns. That would give you some not so pleasant memories of this jam making experience. As you can see, as an aspiring zero waster, I have chopped up an old tea towel and hemmed it rather badly, but it doesn't need to be beautiful. Again, we're not being perfectionists about this, just making do with what we have. Oh, that's getting big. Okay, 13 minutes left. It's getting big, but it's not threatening to bust its boots, so I'm gonna let it carry on. It's important not to stir it at this point. You can do stirring later. I find it really difficult not to stir in life. Anyway, but you do need to keep an eye on it, obviously, so maybe no reading or talking to succulents at this point. Maybe just meditatively gazing into your jam. Or singing to it. You could sing to it. I might sing to it, but I'm going to do that off camera. I'll see you in 12 minutes or so. Hi, I forgot to say, you might want to label your jam. I've got a few of these sticky name label type things, but you can use paper and sellotape. I also have a Sharpie. Go wild, get gel pens, colour things. Alright, this is very exciting. It's been bubbling for a while. I just turned it down for a bit while I the video back on. So this is the point at which you need your plate. So my jam thermometer says it's hit a setting point. If you don't have a jam thermometer, when I told you to put a plate in the freezer at the beginning and you were like, Charlie, what are you talking about? Why are you putting a plate in the freezer, you complete oddball? This is where it comes in rather handy. Sorry, I'm just trying to stop it from busting out of this pan. Jam busters, sorry. Okay. Very cold plate. Teaspoon. Scoopy, scoopy. You're gonna put your teaspoon of jam, maybe turn the heat down a little bit, onto your very cold plate. And then you're gonna put your very cold plate in the fridge. For a couple of minutes. We're nearly there. Now when you come to jarring it up, you may find that some of the fruit has caught a little bit on the bottom of the pan, especially if you're using just the biggest pan you happen to have, like I do. That's okay. Don't worry too much. Just leave the pan to soak for a while, it'll come off. Don't try and scrape it off and put it in the, ooh, it's time. Don't try and scrape it off and put it in the jars, because then you'll just have burnt jam flavour and that's not very nice. Okay, this next phenomenon is known as the wrinkle test. And it's got nothing to do with Nivea. Okay, jam on pan, on plate. I'm gonna push it. And see, nothing's ever perfect. My jam is not wrinkling. The idea is that you push your finger through it and the bits in front of your finger should kind of wrinkle. Mine's not, mine's just very syrupy. I might just have dried apricot syrup. Nonetheless, my thermometer says it's reached the setting point of 105 degrees or 220 Fahrenheit. I'm just gonna go with it. If you have been boiling your jam as much as possible for the last 20 minutes and you don't have a jam thermometer, trust to fate. If fate wants you to have syrup, there's a reason. So, we're gonna take the jam off the heat. We're gonna switch off the oven. We're gonna remove the jam thermometer. Ooh, she's got apricots in it. And the bubbling is gonna slowly subside. Ooh, it's very golden. The pan is also very hot. Okay, I'm moving the pan over to where I'm gonna jar it up. I'm gonna give it a little stir. Okay. Take your jars from the oven. It's really important for them to be on a tray because it makes jarring up much easier. And you also catch any spills. That's a little tip I learned from my boyfriend's mum. Hi Jane, if you're there, thank you for your wisdom. Okay. Lovely. Ladle. Jug. Jam. In jug. When I'm sterilising my jars, it helps me to put the lid that matches the jar directly kind of in front of it, because it just makes jarring it up so much easier and quicker. Okay, you've got your full jug. Cloth in hand. Take jug, pour into jars. You'll probably have spills, I nearly always do. You may need to get a spoon just to make sure some of the fruit goes in there. Fill your jar to within about 3 to 5 millimeters of the top into the neck, because it's gonna contract as it cools, and that contraction is what will pull the top of the lid in and help to create the seal. Okay, if you have your round things of whatever, baking parchment, cellophane, pop it on top. Carefully take lid, pop it on. Maybe grab another cloth. And seal it really nice and tight. Repeat with other jars. And there they are. 5 lovely jars, including the little baby one, of glorious golden dried apricot jam. Thank you so much for watching. This, plus the recipe and a bunch of other recipes for store cupboard jam type things, and a couple of chutneys as well, can be found on the blog, one for the cupboard. Thank you so much. Take care, stay well.